Welcome to another video of Alpha Audio. Today we are going to talk about the Grimm MU2.
The MU2, yeah. So the 2 implies that there's a 1 also.
Yeah,
which there is.
And we tested it before.
Yep.
And there's one major difference. The MU1 doesn't have a DA converter and doesn't have an analog preamp. I think that's the 2 major differences between the MU1 and the MU2.
So it means the MU2 is a Roon core.
Yeah.
It's a streaming platform with Roon.
Yeah.
It has a preamp, an analog preamp. So if you put in a record player and you have the output, it's still analog.
Yeah, single-ended and balanced, by the way.
Yep. There's a DAC inside. DA converter, which is kind of special. We'll talk about it a little bit more later on.
A little bit later, and in the article I'll explain how it works, and we're going to visit them anyway.
Yes.
So they're probably going to talk about it as well.
Yeah, we're going to ask how
did you do this?
How did you do this?
Yeah.
And it has also digital inputs.
Yeah.
So you can attach a CD transport, for instance, which we tested also.
Yeah.
So in the end, it's quite a complete package, I think.
Yeah, and if you actually, I mean, it's not a cheap product.
No.
It's
No.
18,000 euros,
No.
at least in the Netherlands, but you get a preamp, which is really, really good. You get a DA converter, which is really, really good. You get a streamer, that's really, really good. A Roon core, and a headphone amp and a preamp. So it's kind of a 6-in-1 product.
Oh, headphone amp, that's what we forgot to mention.
Yeah, and a pretty decent one as well. So you get actually a lot of products for 18,000 euros. And yeah, it's still a lot of money, but if you want to get them all at the same level and you buy them separately, I'm pretty sure you'll pay a lot more than 18,000 euros.
Yeah, also because we listened to it and we had some insight, which we're going to talk about today, about what it actually does. So then that figure of 18,000 euro gets into another perspective, I think.
Yes, definitely.
But talking about listening to the MU2, we heard it in Munich.
Yes.
And that's why it made our top 5 of 2023 on Alpha
Yeah, because
Audio.
you wrote your list before you even heard it in the listening room here.
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I had the same feeling, to be honest. Yeah, it definitely deserves a spot in the top 5 list.
Then we heard it at an event here in our Tone studio, next to Alpha Audio headquarters.
Yeah.
Where it impressed us again. It was like a confirmation of what we heard in Munich, I think.
Yeah, I think you had the sweet spot in Munich.
Yeah.
I didn't, and I thought the demo was really good. I mean, we talked about it in the summary of the day, but here I thought it played even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it confirmed our feelings, definitely. Yeah.
And now we have it here. And we had it in the other listening room because in your working room there's also a setup with Lumina speakers and the Nilay amplifier in there.
Yeah, yeah.
And you had it attached to the
preamp.
To the preamp from Hypex as well, which isn't a slouch anyway, which is pretty good.
It's pretty decent. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I saw it standing there and I said, yeah, now I'm gonna listen. So I played music and I thought, well, it sounds nice. And then I was looking and I said, hey, Jaap, it's attached to the preamp. Is that necessary? And you said, no, it has a preamp as well. So I switched over the XLR inputs. That was amazing. I mean,
yeah, it was a good combo.
Yeah. But it means that the preamp, which is within the MU2, is really good.
Yeah, it even makes me a little bit sad.
Yes.
For the reason that I own a PAS XP12 and a PAS 150.8 for the reference system, and I love those. You know, I really like the PAS labs. But actually, honestly, the preamp in the MU2 is better than the XP12.
Yep.
It's so ridiculously transparent. I don't hear a preamp.
No.
And that's something that you normally get in a really, really high price class. I mean, the XB12 is not cheap. It's good, but it's just not as good as the MU2. It's a fact.
Yeah, we tested it here also. We attached the record player to the MU2 to listen just analog through the preamp. It was outstanding, I have to say. I mean, it was, I think the limits of the record player itself were audible.
Definitely, yeah.
So we confirmed it that way. And then we attached also the CD transport into the MU2 again. That isn't completely analog, of course, because a CD transport has a digital out, so it's a digital in.
Yeah, but they do a trick. I mean, the B drive, we tested it in the big transport test, and it's a really nice CD transport with a really good clocking system inside, made by Tent Labs. Guido Tent is also working on Grimm, so they know their stuff. But the fact the MU2 has a special locking system on the clocking signal. I mean, the B drive would be master, because it's SPDIF, but they lock onto the signal in a different way. I'll explain it all in the review. And that's why the jitter reduction is really, really great. So the jitter is virtually non-existent, but we still heard a difference in character, and that was really funny. It was both really good, but I thought the B drive had a little bit more slam in the bass and a little bit more rhythm, but the MU2 is way more relaxed. And it has a different stereo imaging. I think it's a little bit wider if you stream, and it's a little bit softer. So that was a nice difference to hear. So you still hear your transport, but it's better. It's definitely better than connected to the Sonnet. And the Sonnet is an amazing DA converter. I still love it very much. But it's really different from the MU2.
Really different, yeah. I mean, we listened to a lot of music on the MU2.
Yeah, we did.
Because it's pretty addictive to listen to music. And then, you know, you want to test. I have my testing reference tracks that I use to listen to music, and you have yours, and we all want to listen to, and see where are the strong points, where are the weak points. And then I found a pretty recent recording from Maria Milstein. She is a violin player, from a Russian violin player who lives in the Netherlands for a long time already. And she made a recent recording with the Vion Orchestra, which is an orchestra in the east of the Netherlands.
Was that the Prokofiev piece?
That's the Prokofiev piece, yeah. So she recorded the first two violin concertos by Prokofiev. With the orchestra. It's been recorded by Channel Classics, which is a very, very renowned recording
amazing
label.
work they do.
And then we listened through that recording here on the MU2. Well, it
was really good.
The placement of the orchestra, so the layout of the orchestra was pretty amazing. You really saw her in your mind's eye. You saw her standing before the orchestra, playing. The sound of the woodwinds and the details from the orchestra were great. The nice thing about that Prokofiev piece, the second violin concerto, is that it is a wide range of emotions. So it goes everywhere, all over the place, that piece. And she plays it really well, and you feel it when you listen to a great system like this. So yeah, that's a good reference track to just to feel the emotions from the music, and to see what a device can get out of the music. So that was, I think the MU2 showed what it can do, meaning a very transparent sound, very correct, and with every music that we play on the MU2, there's one thing that we both have, is we are totally relaxed when listening to it.
It is so relaxing to listen to it, and that's something with digital and especially streaming that I just haven't had that many times. Even with high-end gear, 40 grand, 50 grand, you're still sitting like, yeah, it's really good, next track. And I never ever have that feeling with this MU2. I just want to listen more.
Yeah. So we talked about it because that kind of self-evident way of producing music, we know it from playing vinyl.
Yeah, definitely.
So there is something happening with the MU2, with the DA converter, which is different, sets it apart, I think, from other DA converters.
Even with the MU1, which is a great transport. I think it's one of the best I've ever heard. And it solves a lot of problems with streaming. It sounds amazing on my Sonnet. This is better.
Yeah.
I love the Sonnet, and the funny thing is, when I hooked it up to the analog input, I heard the characteristics of the Sonnet through the MU2, which is really weird.
Yes.
I love NOS still, because with acoustical instruments, it does something with piano and violin that's just so natural. And that's what I love about the NOS system that Kees has built. The MU2 has some sort of magical dust on their DA converter. It's like 1.5 bits voodoo DAC they built.
Yeah, 1.5 bits. What's that?
Yes, 3 levels of conversion, and
we'll write it down.
I'll write it down in detail, and I'm trying to measure it, but I need some other gear to actually be able to measure the jitter in this, because my probe is not good enough. But it does something that makes it, like you said, it's so self-evident, and that's something that is so relaxing to listen to. It's really good.
Yeah, the strange thing is, you feel it in your body when you're listening, and it's.
I've never listened to so much music in the past week. It's really addictive.
Yeah, it's really addictive.
It's annoying that it has to go back, because I just can't afford it. But it's simply, I need to do stuff that's not really legal in order to buy this. But I was sitting on the couch typing my reviews. It's not distracting, but you're still in the music. That's the funny thing, because sometimes you get into the music and you can't work, but I can do both. I'm just sitting, wow, this is amazing music, and I'm typing my reviews. And
I think that's something which is hard to convey, of course, because we're talking about it.
You have to be here.
Yeah, you have to be here to hear it, but it's not listening to hi-fi.
No, you're listening to music.
Yes. And that's a strange kind of sensation, because we review hi-fi gear.
And now you mention it, I had the same with the Grimm LS1BE. The first time I heard that speaker. It's also a Grimm. Sorry, I like the brand, but I was listening to music, and I had now it clicks. This does the same. I was sitting in the chair. I still remember it, and I was away for 3 hours just listening to music. And I know that now we're talking about music again. The whole review was about listening to music. I didn't mention one spec in the whole review. I couldn't care less. I'm listening to music. I love the music I'm listening to. This is it. You need this. I don't know all the specs in the Grimm MU2. I don't care.
No, no, but
it's great.
It's great because it can do something, some special things. I had a track also, which I recently discovered. There's a new Arvo Pärt recording made by ECM, which is a renowned label as well from Germany.
Yeah.
They made a lot of great recordings. And this was a part with a chamber orchestra recorded in a church with a big kind of percussion behind it.
Yeah.
And we were sitting here and you were typing indeed.
Yeah. I was working while listening to music. It's quite unique.
And then the percussion, the big timpani came into the music very softly at the start. I never heard it at the start before, and my system at home doesn't produce that.
No,
that's simple. And then I thought already, oh, there's already timpani in here, and then it builds and it builds and it builds.
It's amazing.
And it was a thundering. It wasn't even thundering. It was like rolling in.
Yeah.
Like I can't even describe how that felt.
It's the big drum.
The big drum coming in, and you were dropping your.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening?
You took your phone to have a measurement of the decibels on the spectrum, and you said, it's going even below 30 hertz.
I didn't even know that my TADs could do that.
Yeah.
It was sub 30 hertz that was rolling into the chamber like nothing.
Yeah.
It's
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's again the self-evidence of which it produces the music. It's astounding.
And I wasn't distracted. No. I was just amazed.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's incredible.
It doesn't try to impress you.
No.
I think that's the important message here. The MU2 doesn't try to impress you like some hi-fi systems we heard in Munich a lot of times.
No.
It's a kind of the self-evidence of listening to music, and you think, yeah, that's how it sounds.
Yeah, that's why it's so hard to review this product.
Yeah.
And sometimes a review is hard because you don't know what they're trying to do.
Yep.
Like, who is their client? I don't know. So I can't describe this. I had it with a product a couple of months back. So I don't know what to write. I just don't know what it wants to be. This is really evident what it wants to be. It wants to get out of the way of the musicians and the listener.
Yep.
It's not there.
Nope.
It's invisible, and it should be. But it makes it really hard to describe what it actually does. Besides the fact that it just plays amazing music and the preamp is great, but it's not about the detail in the music. It's not about the coloration in the music. It's not about the imaging in the music.
It's all there.
It's just there.
It's the placement of the music. The stereo image is spot on.
It's spot on. Absolutely.
The coloration. I mean, I listen to a lot of classical music on this one because I hear stuff which I think, okay, this is how it sounds like when I'm in a hall.
Yeah, because you play music.
Yeah. So that's pretty great to listen to. But even we threw at it all kinds of music.
Yeah. I played gazpacho. Progressive rock. I've never heard it like that before.
Living Color?
Yeah, when I walked in, like,
Staying
what?
This morning?
Do you like Living Color?
Yeah.
He does. He does like Living Color.
Yes.
But I was here with Mark Otten as well, and he knows the system a little bit, not as good as you, but he knows the system, and he's a producer coach, by the way, so he knows about mixing and mastering music.
Yeah.
And he sat on the couch and I played some music, and he has some reference tracks, and he was like, what? Completely blown away by the fact that it's so natural and so correct without being analytical or anything.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm going away now because otherwise I can't listen to anything else.
Yes.
But he said, this is too good for my work.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
He needs less good gear to do his job. Because he said, otherwise I will never be finished mixing and mastering because I will hear everything that goes wrong. I don't know if that's actually true, but it made me laugh.
Yeah.
Like,
one of the things which is also stood out and which we will have in the samples is how natural music or voices are being projected also.
Wow. Yeah.
That's really great. By now we are, thanks to Jung, big lovers of 70s and 60s recordings.
Yes, we are.
The time when recording was still an art.
Yeah.
And we just listened to Gladys Knight, Make It Through the Night, one of her famous tracks.
Yeah.
That's just the evidence that you need to know, to understand what
that
this
voice
does.
Yeah, and don't try to find anything spectacular because it isn't.
No.
It's just the recording produced.
It's recording produced. It's the every nuance in the voice is being reproduced with ease.
And I hope I can capture it. But there's a Grimm also in the rack.
Yeah, so that probably will do.
Yeah.
I hope you like this video.
Yes.
And I hope that you are able, actually, I wish it for everyone watching this video, that you're able to hear this just for once in your life.
Yes,
at a demo, because then you know what it's all about. We all say, when we're talking about hi-fi and all manufacturers, we try to make it sound like the musician's intent.
Yes.
Which I always think is a really weird thing to say, because you don't know the intention as a manufacturer of a player.
No, unless you make your own recordings, of course.
Unless you make your own recordings and play them back.
Yeah.
But I think they talk about self-evidence, that it sounds like it's not there, that the gear is
very
invisible.
Few can actually pull it off.
Very few. This is one of them.
This is one of them, and I think the BE does it as well.
Yeah.
Better than the normal and the A version. But well, you pay for that, of course.
Yep.
But there are not many that can pull that off.
So if you enjoy this video, then please don't
forget
subscribe.
Of course, don't forget. There's a button.
Yep.
I
think we're going to close down.
Yes.
If this is the last video you've ever seen of us, then you know we're in jail.
Probably.
We need to rob a bank.
To buy 2 of them then.
To buy
maybe
2 of them.
Give Jung one as well, and Jeffrey. Then we need 4 of them. Yeah, then we really need to rob a bank.
We need to rob a bank.
Yeah, we will. Hope to see you back. Otherwise, you know where we are. Thank you for watching. See you.
Bye-bye.